Aymara Indians, for centuries, the Indians have said this was made by gods to be a two-dimensional doorway. Shaman taught him a sound frequency. His wife is 100 feet away. She is watching the entire scene. Jerry gets down on his knees, leans forward with his forehead. He puts it in the rock. She sees him disappear, literally. He goes to a white place, and then this male voice comes and starts talking to him.
He said that I was on another world, that it was outside of my universe. And he says, well, there are many universes, and you have just passed from yours into ours.
The Halls of Amenti is a Stargate portal that lies beneath Earth. In inner Earth, there is this Stargate portal that connects us through the Giza Pyramid to higher dimensions.
So our universe is composed of 5 harmonic universes, which means that in each level from level 1 to level 5 are contained 3 dimensions. Our planet Earth is in the 3rd dimension, and it's in the lowest of the 5 harmonic universes. We're in harmonic universe 1. 560 million years ago, there was a twin planet of Earth called Terra. And when we hear about the Garden of Eden and all these stories about heaven, that was the planet Terra. It was a beautiful planet. We had all of our 12 strands of DNA activated. We could teleport, we could transport, we could fly. We could do magical abilities with all of our DNA strands activated. Everyone just wanted to live in that state forever. Some species started eyeing that planet with the vision of controlling the resources. This led to wars, and there were some warring factions called the Elanians and the Lumians in the planet Terra. So the Elanian race 560 million years ago started to use weapons of war and control and tap into the grids of planet Terra so they could dominate the planet. However, what they did not realize was that their weapons were causing the whole grid of the planet to become unstable. The core of the planet exploded. It turned from a Garden of Eden into a desolate desert planet that could no longer ascend because it was missing critical vital pieces. Huge bits and pieces of the planet Terra blew out into outer space, and they were sucked into a local sun. And that sun had a black hole in the very center. And these fragments of the planet Terra also had the soul fragments of all the souls that died in this cataclysm. So these souls got sucked into a black hole, and millions upon millions of these souls were spitted out from the black hole into the lower dimension of harmonic universe 1, which is our universe. And that's when our solar system was still forming. So the fragments of planet Terra came into our solar system, and they fused with the gaseous fragments of all the 12 planets that were being formed at that stage in our solar system. So in essence, our sun and the 12 planets all inherited these fusions and fused parts of the planet Terra, and all the lost souls became part of the consciousness that was forming 500 million years ago. But because now this whole cataclysm took place, these souls got trapped in the lower harmonic universe, they could no longer ascend. So now the beings, these Lyrans, the Syrian councils, the Ra Confederacy, the Pleiadians, all of these beings now had to come up with a plan on how to release these trapped souls from our local universe and give them a path to ascension. They created a Stargate technology known as the core of Amenti. It is basically a Stargate technology that connected the core of planet Earth into the core of Terra. And the sphere of Amenti was the portal that gave us the blueprint or the map that once again allows us to go in from harmonic universe 1 into harmonic universe 2. Scientists have actually discovered and visited the halls of Amenti underneath the Giza pyramid.
Think of how powerful we as human beings are, that we're just going off of fragments of these fully functional 12-strand activated beings, and these fractions blew off into a black hole, and that created our universe at harmonic universe 1, and now we are ascending, and through the halls of Amenti we have access back to this harmonic universe too. Have you guys walked through these mirrors where one mirror makes you tall, one makes you fat, one makes you so skinny? Every mirror distorts the image of it. Now the halls of a mentee, it's a hall of mirrors that is here to show you at a very deep level that everything that you are surrounded by right now in this third dimensional reality is an illusion. It's a maya.
All is mind. And what that really means is that this entire reality, the room you're sitting in, when you're walking outside nature, everything, the trees around you, the air that you breathe, everything is a mental projection of your mind. It doesn't actually exist. All that exists is the light of your soul experiencing this reality as if you're in a 3D simulation. And the way it works is your soul, which is vibrating in the 6th dimension, is the lamp that is projecting this reality out through your DNA. And your DNA is the programming instruction, and it creates the physical sensations of your body. So your DNA actually connects your physical sensations and relays them to your neural cortex, and your neural cortex is connected to your chakras and as well as your nervous system. And all of this is basically feeding data. Everything is data. The universe is actually mathematical. All this data is being fed back into your chakras, and your chakras are sending this information through your antakarana, your tube of light, and it relays it up into the higher dimensions where your soul resides. So your soul is experiencing touch, experiencing emotions, feelings. So when Eldora was mentioning the concept of the hall of mirrors, that's really what the hall of a mentee acts as, a hall of mirror that distorts your view of reality and shows you everything that is not vibrating at the God level of consciousness, and you remove all your flaws. That's basically it. You say, oh my God, unpleasant to be around. I sometimes lie to people to get my way. I sometimes use manipulation to control my spouse. I sometimes guilt trip my children to give me love.
Yes.
You know, like all these are flaws in your soul.
Because ultimately you're a divine being. There's no God outside of you. Think of the ocean. Every molecule is individual, but it's also part of the ocean. That's how we are. We're all part of the soup of God consciousness. Every single one of us. And ultimately we are returning to our divine state until we are 100% in our integrity, 100% in our authenticity, 100% in our purity, in a healed state. This first angel, which is a dark angel, says, say, no, you're going to die and you're going to come back and incarnate in this third dimensional realm. Again, have a lifetime for 60, 70 years.
So normally in the dark ages, like in the last 2500 year cycle, in the Piscean age, we would have to ascend when we die. We would have to die, we would have to go to the first gate of the halls of a mentee, examined by this archon at the first gate. If our soul had any vibrations that match these archonic frequencies that are less than love, then we would have our memories wiped out and we would come back and incarnate again. And what happens in the golden age when we enter the photon belt is that amplified assistance is given to us, because the physical ascension of the planet is the most important thing that this universe needs to accomplish right now. And our planet cannot ascend without ascending souls. So the more souls that turn on their DNA, the more assistance is provided to this planet to ascend. And when we reach a critical mass of approximately 8% of souls that have activated their DNA strand number 5, there are souls that have activated themselves to such a high extent that we can assist other people. We can be a beacon of hope for others. That is where you're vibrating at the frequency of gratitude, unconditional love. Activating your DNA is not something that is done to you. It's not something that's done by a healer and given to you and then you can ascend. Activating your DNA is done by your own good deeds, by living a good life, by practicing unconditional love, by being generous to others, by going out of your way to assist others. And you can't just run and assist others. You have to heal yourself.
Yes.
You have to go through your own healing journey. You have to bring yourself into a place of strength. You have to heal your body. You have to heal your dis-ease. You have to balance your emotions. You have to make sure your thoughts are pure. You have to make sure your emotions are pure. You realize that everyone is your family. You see yourself in everyone and you are everyone. Then when you balance all these things and you are leading your life to the best extent possible, then when you come to the gate 1, the archon will have nothing on you. There's no vibrational imprint which it can hook you.
You've transcended all karma.
You can literally walk through the dark age. We are now at that very historic moment in our evolution when we have processed all of the karma, or just enough of the karma so that the angels can relieve us of the wheel of karma. we're once again going to create the Garden of Eden with our higher level consciousness. There will come a point in our lifetimes by 2040, by 2050, the frequency of the planet will become so high that the physical particles that make up our physical bodies are going to merge with our soul to such a high extent that we're going to become high frequency light beings that can be etheric and physical at the same time. We're going to have healing technologies return to humanity. We're going to have reverse aging technologies. Many technologies and patents that we held in Atlantis are going to be returned to Earth that allow us to create organic foods out of energy. So things are getting very exciting, folks. Just hang in there. It just seems like this is the last part where we have to pass through the birthing canal. And for birth, there is pain. And the pain equates to all the things that we need to release. So rejoice and release everything that you need to, because something beautiful lies ahead.
Portals are windows in time that they're able to find and go through. And that's what our government is trying to find now, so they can do time travel in the same way. I wanted to know what the difference was between the windows and the portals. They said a portal you can go through. They do, and go into another dimension in the future, in the past. A window you can look through, but you can't go through. And it would be on the same dimension you are, where the portals would be able to access the different dimensions. See, some of this can get complicated.
To you about CERN too. So is CERN learning anything from ancient Egypt?
Yeah.
CERN being, can you describe what CERN is?
Sure. CERN is the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. It's the largest machine in the world, located in Switzerland, and it's all underground, and it uses this gigantic track, this underground tube that's connected, and they send atoms in opposite directions and speed them up to, a percentage of the speed of light, and then let them collide. And then they analyze the collision to see what comes out of this collision between atoms, quarks and muons and everything else that they discover. But something else they discover in the process is that they create microscopic black holes. Now,
really?
Yeah. So originally, a lot of people were getting scared about this because they were like, man, if you guys create a black hole here on Earth, will it suck the Earth in? I mean, kind of fair to assume, like, black holes are supposed to be pretty deadly things. Even light can't escape them. So why create one here on Earth? But I think, in my opinion, again, this is nothing that I've read, but my hypothesis is that part of the work going on at CERN is to learn how to create stable wormholes. What Einstein and Rosen called an Einstein-Rosen bridge, where you take space and you fold it and make a hole, punch a hole in between to make a connection, a shortcut through space-time. And it could be learning or trying to experiment, either by accident or on purpose, how to create a stable wormhole. How do you create one and hold it open? The biggest thing is holding it open.
Hold on. Let's backtrack. Yeah. I'm slow. So, I don't have a degree in astrophysics, and I don't have anything from MIT or Harvard. So you're talking about you're folding space and creating a hole through it. So I'm envisioning.
Yeah. Just bend it like this.
Bend it like this.
And if you had a pencil, you could poke a hole right through. So you can go from point A to point B. Instead of traveling over the length of that sheet of paper to get from point A to point B, you now just arrive at point B almost instantaneously.
Okay.
You see? And Einstein and another professor, a theoretical physicist named Rosen, they call it the Einstein-Rosen bridge, was a theoretical name for this type of hypothesis on how to create a wormhole, or what a wormhole would be, how it would operate, how it would work. The biggest problem that we have is not creating the wormhole now, because we can create them, but how do you keep it open? How do you make it stable for something to pass through without collapsing? Now, NASA recently discovered something called X points around Earth and also around the sun. These are naturally occurring portals that open and close every single day all around the outside of our planet. The Themis satellite system discovered these portals a few years back, and they've been analyzing and watching them. Some of them create direct pathways to the sun and even to other planets in our solar system. So these are called X points. They exist all around the outside of our planet. They're where magnetic diffusion points hit and cross, like our magnetic fields hit and cross, in some way combining that crossing of electromagnetic fields with charged particles from the sun opens up a portal. So portals naturally can occur in nature. You don't have to make them artificially. So that's pretty interesting. All we have to do now is learn how to harness that power, and we can travel through space, and we can go great distances without having to put ourselves in hibernation pods and things like that. But now what's interesting is you look at some of the pyramid structures and also read the ancient texts. If you go to one of the Sumerian tablets, they talk about having something called a Du-Ran Ki. It was called a bond heaven-earth. And Enlil talks about walking from his home world directly to Earth and walking from Earth directly back to his home world, bypassing even getting in a spaceship. You go fast forward a little bit more, the ancient Egyptians talk about something called a Jed Pillar Ankh. They have a Jed connected to the inside of Ankh. People think the Ankh was like for decoration or represented rebirth and the womb of a woman and all that. It kind of did. Nowadays it's just decoration like jewelry. But it also represented something more technological in the ancient times. When you go to the super ancient texts, you discover that Ankh and that Jed were a oscillator that would resonate to the atomic frequency of the owner. That was the code programmed into the actual Ankh. The actual portal that they would walk through to travel wherever they were going, it would only let you walk through it if your frequency was programmed into the portal. That was your key. Without walking through with that, you would be obliterated. That's how they kept people from just getting into these portals. Only the elite of the elite had access to these portals to travel all around the world. There's one in Mexico, in Tula, Mexico, where Thoth, the Atlantean, who came from Africa over there, he would stand there, and this looks like an indentation in the wall, and he would literally walk through it, and he would reappear somewhere else in the world, and he would come back from time to time and so forth. But again, he would have the Jed Pillar Ankh in his hand. Then you look at Bosnia in Europe. There's a pyramid there called the Pyramid of the Sun. Just like the one, there's one in Mexico called the Pyramid of the Sun. There's one in Bosnia called the Pyramid of the Sun. In this valley, there's like 5 massive pyramids, all covered with brush and trees and debris. Well, they started digging this thing out. They said, oh my God, these are solid stone blocks. There's tunnels underneath that are connecting the pyramids, the same exact tunnels that are in Teotihuacan in Mexico, connecting the pyramid structures there. But inside of this one tunnel, they found this gigantic crystal. It's called the K2 megalith. And on it is written in runes, an ancient writing. It says, we must stand and defend.
All right? A lot of people don't even know that rainbows are stargates. You feel me? But they tricked us to believe that it's a rainbow, not knowing that a rainbow is a stargate, which is why nobody has ever been to the end of the rainbow, because it's a stargate and a portal that opens up based upon the planetary time ticker of the inner Earth. All right? I'm giving y'all real facts. Rainbows are stargates. All right? So to other dimensions. You see how they had the
to back then. If I had to give it a name, I would say it's the awakening process. It's an evolution of consciousness that cannot, will not, and no matter what decisions or possibilities are injected into the equation, eventually it all resolves down to us all learning the truth and becoming aware of this massive dam of lies that has been built that keep us from knowing massive volume of information that we should otherwise possess. Essentially what happened with Looking Glass, not only did they not want people to use it anymore because they knew it was just going to burp out the same thing, but at the same time they didn't want anybody else to know what it was saying, I'm sure. Because that information was a monumental concern when I was in the military, about how to prevent this inevitability. Now, at first I thought it was end of the world. Now I see end of the world as end of their world. The biggest cherry on top of all this conversation would be a synopsis to say that if I could convince everybody out there that for all intents and purposes, what we believe to be true eventually becomes true. If somebody convinces us that a major disaster is going to happen in the very near future, a major disaster happens in the very near future. If we don't buy into that fear and accept that there is really nothing that we know is going to happen, and accept of whatever happens, that makes the convergence of the timelines happen as naturally as possible. Any attempts to try to go away from this one inevitable conclusion, I again see as a new beginning, an end of this reality, the beginning of something that we can't even possibly understand based on the level of our beliefs currently. But when all that information comes flooding out, there's going to be no denying what's true and what's a lie or what's illusion. Basically, what we're experiencing right now is two master chess players sitting at the board. And one of them looks down at the board and sees that he's in checkmate in 7 moves. And he looks across at his opponent, and he knows that his opponent sees it too. So there's no getting out of it. So at this point, the loser can only prolong the game. Both players know the game is over. It's only a matter of time before he does this, and then you're forced to do this, and then he's forced to do this, and eventually checkmate. We, as a race, if we could understand that the game is over, that based on the rules of the game, the bad guys have already lost, the good guys have already won. Yes, there's moves left on the table, but those moves are being forced by the player that is going to win. The only way that checkmate can't happen is if the player that's winning makes a mistake. But from all of the information that I've gathered, all of the information that's been given, all of the information that's been vetted to me, it seems pretty obvious that the good guy player on the side of the chessboard knows exactly what has to be done to win the game. And so at this point, any mistake would be all but impossible. But again, you really have to understand the game to know that the guy that's losing is lost. And I'm sure most people sitting watching a chess match between two advanced chess players know the game's over long after the two players know it's over. Because they can't see the board and see that there's only 7 moves left.
Material from the Book of Maps and Keys, because in there we find out where Earth's 12 primary stargates are located. We find out what they're connected to on the other side, which is really fascinating. That's where we get into stars up there, and the names of stars they're not the Anahazi names, because we wouldn't be able to know what that meant. So they're in the terms that our societies use, like the Sirius system, the Palladian system, that kind of thing. We find out what gates connect to what, and we begin to find out amazing things about the planet itself. There'll be a time in this discussion where we get into something about the crystal caverns, which it was really interesting. When that information was introduced to us, the crystal caverns are, if you remember a Cathara grid, the 12-pointed grid, the Tree of Life grid. Well, if you look at that and you look at the 12 points as stargates and those little lines that run in between them, now we've talked about that in relation to the body, but in relation to the planet, those lines that run in between the Cathara centers are actually tunnels. They're crystal caverns, literally lines of tunnels that you can walk through that connect gate to gate, but they have seals in them. You won't even be able to see the entrances to them unless you have certain things activated in the DNA template. But the crystal caverns are beginning to be discovered. In Chihuahua, Mexico, they have recently found On the front of your books, in fact, there's a picture of huge crystals, I believe. Let's see. Okay, you see the picture that has the little person by the big crystal? That picture was actually given to me by a friend of ours that comes to our workshops. She was guided to our workshops right before she got an invitation to go with a scientist crew to Mexico on this, this explorer. And what they were exploring were these crystal caverns in Chihuahua, Mexico. They have just supposedly been discovered, and they are massive selenite crystal spaces. These are the small ones. The crystal caverns and these smaller crystal caves, like are being found now, are actually connected to the halls of Amente gate temples, which are in inner earth. And these are massive crystal temples that are literally made out of crystals like that size, but they're tiny compared to what the ones are there. So there's many things to discover on this planet, and I will let us get started so we get there, so we get to the point where we can discover them.
Hollow. Every planetary object is hollow, right?
All hollow. Well, the sun's definitely hollow because I studied the sun for 4 years straight.
This is a question.
And it's obviously hollow. Okay. And the solar, the sunspots are holes that allow you to see inside.
Really?
Yeah. It's dark inside. The sun is well understood in radio physics and studying the ionosphere and sunspots and all that stuff that the sun does not operate by fusion. They do not know how the sun operates. The fusion only comes out of the arcs because of the current density. That's where the hydrogen diffusion occurs, is in the actual arcs between the flares. The sun itself is not a fusion device.
So the fusion is in the effect of the
It's a
flare.
converter. Yeah, the sun is a converter from another dimensionality into this dimensionality. And obviously, if you can't see it in outer space, the conversion's not complete until it hits the Earth's atmosphere or other physical object, and then it finally converts to electromagnetic light.
When it hits the ozone layer, it does.
Well, the Earth's envelope.
The Earth's envelope.
Yeah, Earth's envelope is undefined. Yeah, but you have to get in the Wilhelm Reich about that. Like we were talking about how you can't see the stars anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So the sun, would you say, makes its quote-unquote energy through some electrical etheric process?
Yeah, because of its voltage, its position.
Would you call it some kind of etheric lamp? A lantern?
Yeah, it's like a giant Tesla lamp.
You know, in the converter, the sun is converted.
Yeah. It's not burning anything.
So it's an etheric electrical
converter.
And
it's converting from primary force to secondary force.
And the conversion is complete once it hits the upper atmosphere.
Yeah, then once the emission interacts with physical matter, then it reverts to its reduced form, the waste product, which is heat and light and mechanical activity. But it doesn't start off like that, and its origin is undefined because it comes from what people like to say another dimension, counter space.
Sunspots are holes inside.
Holes in the hollow sun. There's a photosphere that generates the light, and it's contiguous. It's not contiguous. It's little things that move around.
Contiguous.
Yeah. It's an arrangement with little glowing spots, and it's dark in between. It's a veil. And that's where the illumination of the sun originates, is in that veil. It doesn't come from the inside. There's no nuclear furnace in the middle. There's none of that yet, and that's understood. When I studied this stuff at Sonoma State, that's understood. But they have to continue this popular image that the sun is a...
They didn't build them pyramids for no reason, and today is a prime example of that. Today, the Lion Gate portal opens. If you visited my page before, you know we've already talked about the pyramids and how they align with the stars. Well, today, our sun is aligning with the Sirius star and Orion's belt, which the pyramids of Giza is perfectly aligned with. It's a certain time where things align where you can access specific stuff. The Egyptians and other societies knew about this. These sacred places were used for channeling, traveling, portaling. But let's get in on the energetic field of what's happening today. This veil that is thinning between us and higher spiritual dimensions is allowing us to receive high vibrating cosmic light. My symptoms so far of this happening in the past days has been headaches, feeling very, very tired, and also not wanting to sleep at all. Confusing. Source energy is flowing like crazy right now. The quantum energy field is upgrading, plus it is overlapping a Venus retrograde. Now, a lot of people might say, oh, I don't feel anything. I don't see any portals opening up in the sky. Like I have explained about the fourth dimension, there are people on this earth who have psychic abilities who are able to see into the fourth dimension and see aliens and portals and everything opening up. The fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, all of that is outside of our normal 3D reality. So portals, stargates, energy shifting in our body is going to be something foreign to you. Now, I'm going to tell you ways that you can hone in on this beautiful energy right now. Because today is 8-8, which is basically the infinity symbol, what you focus on today is going to program you. Because intentions and the infinite possibilities are supercharged. So use this time to write down everything that you want, everything that you desire. When you get done writing it down, go through everything on the list. Now, in meditation, I need you to picture that reality happening for you. Clear as day, like you see me on this video. You're going to use that solar plexus energy. Like I said, your intentions are supercharged. Picture whatever blockages that are happening for you right now releasing. We are getting upgrades, downloads, heart realignment, all of that just flowing in. So as you're going down your list, set your powerful intentions on the things that you desire. Visualize it and focus on it. What does this version that you desire looks like? What does the life look like? What does the reality look like? Tap into that power. So it's okay if you don't feel like everything is drastically changing for you right now. But because we are multidimensional beings, things are spiritual before it is physical. And in that realm where you go to after you lay down in bed, time does not exist. Sometimes your spiritual body, the thoughts, the things that you create inside of your head take a little time aligning with your physical reality. Hence why we are here on this earth, to use our powers of creation. Let me give you an example, right? We are solid. The kinetic energy for solid is very low. The vibration of gas, it vibrates at a high speed. But solid does not move from place to place. It's a slower vibration. That's why we're here working on our powers to be able to speed that situation up, create more and bring more things to life. So enjoy and connect to this upgrading cosmic light. Y'all stay dangerous.
CIA has declassified numerous documents under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, that detail experiments with the paranormal, psychic phenomena, and unexplained events, particularly through programs like Project Stargate and MKUltra. These programs provide a fascinating glimpse into real-life efforts to explore what could be described as chthonic realms, hidden dimensions of human consciousness, and possibly beyond. Project Stargate, psychic phenomena as a portal to the unknown. One of the most infamous programs, Project Stargate, ran from the 1970s to the 1990s. This program aimed to test and develop the ability of individuals to perform remote viewing, the alleged psychic skill of visualizing distant or unseen locations. Declassified documents reveal that subjects were tasked with seeing secret Soviet military installations and even extraterrestrial landscapes. Though some results were dismissed as unreliable, several experiments yielded startlingly accurate descriptions of places the viewers had never physically visited. For example, one remote viewer allegedly described features of Mars, later corroborated by data from NASA probes. Researchers speculated that such phenomena might involve accessing a hidden layer of reality, a suggestion eerily aligned with ancient myths about otherworldly planes. MKUltra and altered states of perception. The infamous MKUltra program explored the limits of human consciousness, often using unethical means such as administering LSD to unwitting participants. Some experiments delved into whether mind-altering substances could open portals to other dimensions or allow subjects to perceive hidden aspects of reality. Test subjects reported terrifying visions of shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and encounters with otherworldly beings, descriptions eerily similar to folkloric accounts of chthonic entities. In one declassified report, a subject under heavy sedation claimed to communicate with a presence they described as residing in a timeless void. The researchers dismissed the account as hallucinatory, but subsequent experiments saw similar descriptions from other participants. This consistency raised questions. Were these subjects hallucinating or tapping into a collective unconscious, or perhaps even glimpsing a hidden dimension?
President Donald Trump has a $500 billion AI project to build a Stargate. Very ambitious plan. Now, do you know what a Stargate is? Have you ever watched Stargate movies? Have you ever watched Star Trek? Have you ever watched those type of show? Now, I mean, you can use a Stargate to go through different dimensions, different portals and stuff like that. I just want to know, when did I wake up in Twilight movie? You got snow falling in the hot countries, in the hot states and stuff like that. Is this a Twilight movie episode? Listen, I'm going back to sleep. Wake me up when it's over, okay? Because this gotta be a Twilight episode, or a Star Trek episode, or a Stargates episode. Too much stuff going on. You know what I mean? Are we in a series of The Matrix? Are we in a series of RoboCop? Are we in a series of iRobot? Like, what's going on? Let me know. Let me know.
Was there any technology they found that was extraterrestrial, maybe, that they studied and were able to activate?
Later on, and this was another expedition in the 60s, believe it was the middle 60s. This was when the Central Intelligence Agency became involved.
There we go.
The CIA sent their own people down there, their own archaeologists, their own Egyptiologists, and they went into some other underground caverns, deep to find this tunnel system that were miles and miles long. In fact, they weren't prepared for anything like that. But what they found was one item that was somewhat square and had figures on it that they couldn't figure out what these figures were. And it was small and had something like an antenna on it, almost something like an old brick phone, a cell phone. And they took it back, finally, eventually got it back to the United States, sent it to a couple different laboratories, and one particular laboratory got it to turn on.
Oh, my goodness.
And so there was a power source.
Wow.
Now, what it was used for, maybe a communications device, or maybe something else, maybe some kind of a scanner. These are some ideas. But it was powered, still being powered. Now, if this thing was 2,000 or 3,000 or maybe even 4,000 years old, how could anything maintain power for that period of time? Well, something that we wanted to know and wanted to try to reverse engineer.
Right. How's it harvesting that energy?
Exactly.
Right.
So that thing is sitting on some shelf, probably at Los Alamos or Sandia right now.
They found these tunnels, and we're talking pretty large tunnels, I believe, right?
Yeah, there were tunnels big enough to drive motorized vehicles in them.
Right. And eventually, could you tell us, where did these tunnels lead to?
These tunnels led under every single current day pyramid.
Right.
I think if you look in Egyptian literature, there's 118 pyramids, but these tunnels led to at least 60 of them. Mm-hmm. Every one of them had these tunnels, and these tunnels led under these pyramids, and then there was exits that you could then venture outside into the pyramid that was above that tunnel. And there were a number of caverns under there where they found things stored, food. One particular area under one pyramid, they had rice, tons and tons of rice and honey, containers of honey.
Right.
And that's
still viable.
And still viable. They I don't know about the rice, but they took the honey back and found that after 1,000 years, the honey's still viable. And that really shocked me.
Yes, I was reading a report in Los Alamos. They were testing that honey. Even to this day, they keep testing it for some reason, for something, I don't know, for maybe some healing properties or magical properties of some sort. Let's talk about that tunnel that went under Giza.
There was a tunnel under Giza. That was the most advanced tunnel system, not just because of the different caverns within that tunnel system, but the structure and the construction of this tunnel system. It was far more advanced than any others.
Were they like lava tubes, Richard, or did he explain it was like rock on these tunnels? What was the makeup?
They were created, they were structured, there were brick tunnels that you could see that they were constructed.
Okay.
But one of the questions that was asked, and I don't know that they answered it, was how could some Egyptian civilization 4,000 years ago construct this complicated tunnel system with bricks in exact same place? The diameters are perfect for movement of big things inside, and they didn't have vehicles back then, but they had sleds. And maybe if the extraterrestrials created these tunnels, the extraterrestrials had some kind of craft, maybe a motor craft or some craft, battery-powered craft, that could move within these tunnels, because they're hundreds of miles long and they're so complex. But this one under Giza was extremely complex, and it had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of chambers. And this is below the pyramids up here. All those other chambers are up here. This is under the pyramids, hundreds of feet down, 700-800 feet down, I think. They're estimating the depth of these are. In the 60s, the CIA archaeologists took pictures and so forth, and probably movie pictures, and presented them to construction engineers, asking them, how would you make something like that? And they said, well, we would have to dig that out, which would take years, and we'd have to bring all that stuff in, would take more years. He said, we could probably build something like that in 15 or 20 years.
The question is, what came first, the tunnels or the pyramid?
That's the question that I ask. When I heard this information and talking to the person that had access to it,
right,
that's the first thing I said was, did they build the tunnels first, or did they build the pyramids first? Who knows?
No one knows.
But the extraterrestrials or the Egyptians, who are probably long dead now, I don't know.
Did they find any spacecraft or extraterrestrial craft?
Yes, they did find one in Giza. He found this ring, a big ring, and didn't know what it was, but saw this strange writing on, these strange symbols on this ring. So then he and another person walked through it to look at the other side, and lo and behold, they got into some other sphere, as if they walked into another dimension.
And this ring, so the audience knows, we're talking like what diameter?
It's probably 25 feet in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
And
the sphere was even larger than that.
Oh, as they walked into it, it was like a new world. Mm-hmm. As he explained in his diary, it was like a new world. And he couldn't figure out how he got from one place, an enclosed sarcophagus almost, into this open area.
Is this a portal of some sort?
Well, today we would call it a portal or a Stargate. I think we would refer to it today as a Stargate.
Stargate.
But back in those days, in 1928,
they didn't know.
They didn't know what it was. But when he walked into it, it was as if he was in a new world. It was an open area, plush pastures. He sees a river, which he assumed to be the Nile, and he sees almost a movie occurring, showing people building these pyramids. And he's in there, he thinks, for maybe an hour, but when he comes out, he's been there for 3 days. He's been for over 72 hours because the crew that he came with were scared. They got out of that tunnel and got out into the open because they thought that they ended up on some other side.
Or it swallowed them up.
Or swallowed them up. And so But 3 days later, they come back out.
How many of the team went with him?
Only 2.
Only 2.
But there were 6 other team members, 8 total. And so those other 6 left, but they stayed up in the area outside where they had an encampment. And eventually, 3 days later, the colonel and his assistant comes back out, and he talks of this new world that they found, and that he knows now how these pyramids were built. He knows where they are located. He knows that there's tunnels under each one of them, and he sees these strange-looking beings, and this is in his diary, strange-looking beings that are probably not from Earth. Now, he says this in his diary, and this is 1928.
Right.
So then decide to make another camp. They had to go get supplies to come back because they were only had enough supplies for, a few days or a week or something like that. But they did, and they brought more people back. This time they brought back from some local people. And they tried to explain through an interpreter to these local people what they had found. And these local people didn't want any part of going down there. They seemed to be aware of maybe the rumors or the legends about this particular tunnel. But the colonel he wasn't afraid to go back.
Right.
So he went back with another person, a different person, not the same that he went the first time. So they go down there. This time they're prepared. They have supplies, they have water, they have things. Because although they saw water going through there, they didn't know if they should drink it or not. Anyways, they walk through. This time he's closer to where they're building a pyramid. He sees these strange things in the sky that are flying around with these large bricks. He's stumped. He can't understand what these things are that are flying. Although during that time period, there were airplanes, conventional airplanes, single engine airplanes. And in the 1920s, we had them during World War I. But they didn't look like any of those type of aircrafts. And remember, he's a British colonel, and he'd been through war, and he knew airplanes. He'd been through World War I, but he couldn't understand and couldn't rationalize what these other things were.
And they're holding these giant blocks.
Right. And it's like a movie. He sees these things happening, and he watches this pyramid being built. But he also sees this underground area where there's tunnels, and there are a vast amount of people working in certain tasks down there. Some people are baking, some people are doing some kind of a work, like a painting or a carpentry work, and then some are lying down on what he refers to as a conveyor belt. And these bodies are like moving in to this tunnel. So he's down there for about a week, he's estimating. When he comes out, now he has a story to tell. He documents all this in his diary.
If he was a week down there, when he got back, was he gone for 4 weeks? Did he say
no,
anything?
he came back and it was a week missing,
Oh, okay.
Missing time for a week. And then he goes back. He eventually gets back to the UK, and he tells his story to a society, and none of them believe him. They didn't believe him. They didn't believe a word he said, even though he had two witnesses, because he brought two different people, took two different people in there. So they said, no, we don't believe you. This is impossible. What you say is not feasible. But he keeps this. Now, jump ahead to 1940.
The 2003 Iraq invasion was all a lie. The actual reason Americans invaded Iraq was to gain possession of an ancient Stargate belonging to the Anunnaki gods of ancient Sumeria. The Bush administration's main motivation was to find and close the ancient Stargate. Why did America have to close the ancient Stargate? What was gonna come through the ancient Stargate?
Welcome to the portal with me. All right, we're gonna go through this bad boy together. Okay? Let's do it. Let's see if you guys see anything different. All right. So once you can see this portal again, I'm getting further and further away. You guys will be able to see it here again in a second. figured I was gonna make a quick video since I just did all that. So if I have more time. Make sure your lens is clean too.
Ancient Egyptians had access to portals, right, to travel.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you look at the Pyramid of the Sun located in Bosnia, these are European pyramids that nobody's really talking about. There's a valley there with pyramids in the entire valley. It seems to be like 4 or 5 pyramids, massive, but there's one called the Pyramid of the Sun. We discovered that there's tunnels underground that connect all these pyramids there. And in one of those tunnels going to the Pyramid of the Sun was a gigantic crystal called the K2 megalith crystal. And written on it is this writing in runes, which we've been able to decipher, ancient Norse writing. And it says, we must stand in defense until we can open the Stargate. So we know that this stone, this giant crystal is there. We have, anyone can look it up. It's available. It's publicly available knowledge. And the writing and the deciphering of it is publicly available. They're saying that we have a Stargate and we're defending. There's a war going on. This is one of those pyramid wars. We can't go through the gate until we defend it.
Is Iraq hiding a portal from the public? In the late 1920s, an archaeologist by the name of Paul Langford discovered a portal known as a Stargate. Some people have claimed that this device is located in the Great Ziggurat in Iraq, where people are prohibited to visit the place. It is rumored that the US took over the country to have control over the portal. Very strange things have been spotted coming out of this weird-looking structure, and it is said that these strange things came out of the portal.
I've seen areas where I was put into a clean room. If you know what a clean room is, has a drain in the middle of the floor where you can dissect somebody and you just hose everything down when you're done. It's called a clean room. And I knew that there was some reptilian doctors. They was on the other side of the door, but there was a platform evidently above the window I was working at, and there was humans up there, and there was, I don't know why they was pushing them off. It seemed like low gravity. And as they was falling, these things was coming out of the wall that looked like an electrical conduit, and it would jab them each side of the leg and the inner side and suck all the fluid out of them. And they would look like mummies as they was coming down, but they was coming down all the way to the floor, and they had the shorter reptilian guys down there, and they was throwing the bodies into these burners, and they had this thing on the ceiling that was like half moon shaped, silver, and it would go over to a pile of bodies and pick them up, vacuum them up, or whatever it was doing. I don't know how it was, probably vacuuming them up, and it would carry it over a batch of bodies over closer to a burner. And they had these the short reptilian guys just throwing the bodies and they're burning it up. It's that was kind of disturbing.
Very recently, a YouTuber baffled the world by uploading a video claiming that he can open a portal leading to other towns and other worlds by simply using an online tone generator. I have an online tone generator set to 528. Today, our job is to pull this video apart piece by piece to discover if this is genuine or just a very clever editing job. Whatever the outcome, you decide. What we know about this YouTuber is very little. He goes by the name of Funky Fathead, and his videos are uploaded on his behalf by a family member or an acquaintance somewhere in the UK, a huge distance from where these videos were first created at an unknown location in the States. Funky Fathead doesn't seem to be your typical average YouTuber, as he only has 6 videos uploaded to his profile, all but one showing some very unusual activity, which he claims is being caused by a portal created by a mixture of different solid tones. You are witnessing a gate, portal, wormhole, Stargate, whatever you want to call it, from this bedroom to another state, using a mixture of 2 solid tones. To try and achieve a clearer understanding of these videos, we're going to be observing them backwards. From his last upload, I also have another tone generator set to 525, and I'm about to show you what will happen with that. So his very first. Touch it, the surface is breached. This portal becomes self-sustained for like 2 hours. Starting with this video that caught the attention of millions of viewers. This was developed by Thomas P. Sinelski. Thank you, Thomas. I notice here it can be used for science experiments. I would say so. Go ahead and play that. So here, 528 tone. There. I'm going to stop it before anything happens. Up here, I also have another tone generator set to 525, and I'm about to show you what will happen with that. Things happen much quicker when you're using pure tones rather than the other stuff I was using on YouTube, which had like sounds mixed in with it. There we go. 528. The fancy neon blue colored light that you can see on the bed is no more than a fancy Bluetooth speaker. Fathead explains that the sounds being generated on the online tone sensor is being transmitted to the speaker, all contributing in a portal manifestation. And already you can see a much more stable fracture. A tall, slender, bright light appears right above the speaker, described by Fathead as a fracture. This was the start of something quite incredible. Okay. I have to do this quick because the stuff does not last. 525. You can see there's a whole range of tones here, but 525, you're going to hear, probably hear the fluctuation there. Here we go. Much to our amazement and disbelief,
what we can only describe of as a portal manifests from the bright light which was above the speaker. You don't know. If we freeze the video right here, we can clearly see these beautiful colors emanating from this so-called portal. We can see a lighter shade of green at the bottom, which will match the trees, the redness coming off the rocks, a darker shade of green at the top, which will match the darker foliage, and a blue tinge coming from where the sky would be. All these colors are a perfect match or description as to what this portal offers inside. You don't know where that is? I do. If you notice, when the portal moves and comes directly in front of the video, you can clearly see that the light from the so-called Stargate is distorting the camera. This is the exact effect we would expect if the light was to be shined directly at the videoer. For example, here are some images of what happens when light is shone directly in front of a camera lens. Is in Sedona, and it is a well-known vortex phenomenon. There's several of them there. Fathead claims that the beauty that lies within the portal is a state called Sedona, an area that is well known and considered for being a vortex. Sedona has long been regarded as a place of both sacred and powerful, a cathedral without walls, Stonehenge yet assembled. People travel all across the globe to experience the mysterious cosmic forces that are said to emanate from the red rocks, all come in search of vortexes. And you are witnessing a gate, portal, wormhole, Stargate, whatever you want to call it, from this bedroom to another state, using a mixture of two solid tones.
If you don't know where that is, I do. Is in Sedona, and it is a well-known vortex phenomenon. There's several.
Power. The return of Planet X centers on the recovery of a technology once housed at Solomon's Temple that is used to open a gateway linking Earth with far-off regions of space. Recent military and political activity suggests that the world powers are jockeying for position as if the return of Planet X is imminent. The stakes are high. This planet is at the center of a biblical prophecy known as the Day of the Lord, a picture of an ancient Sumerian tablet in which the god Anu, the ruler of Planet X, appears to be going through a gate, flanked by two people holding posts or pillars with globes on top. These poles, splendid shining posts, represent the Stargate in a simplified form. Another Sumerian tablet shows Gilgamesh going through a similar gate. Gilgamesh, the hero of the ancient Sumerian epic poem bearing his name, written about 2900 BC. He was the king of Uruk, a city in southern Mesopotamia, who sought immortality by searching for the stairway to heaven and the abode of the gods. Ultimately, he ascended a ladder and went through a gate and entered a new world where he met long-dead Utnapishtim, Noah, and questioned him about the gods. Dr. Sala believes the Stargate will be found at Uruk, where German archaeologists have been digging for many years at the invitation of Saddam Hussein and have unearthed an ancient city. In 1996, Jose Luis Delgado Mamani, a local tour guide in Peru, discovered an ancient archaeological site carved into Hayumarca Mountain near Lake Titicaca, in the Andes Mountains of Peru.
I used 100 neodymium magnets to create David Le...
Oh, look, they're doing tandem contrails. Oh, I hope they crash into that one. Oh, yeah, crash. Oh, man. Hey, anyway, that's why all the portals to all cathedrals and ancient Tartarian buildings, they all look like this. It's because those are each magnets, essentially. They're not metal magnets, but they create a magnetic effect. So when you cross through the portal, when you walk through it, like this is at Moynihan train station, but when you normally cross through portals like this, you get your energy and your electromagnetic array gets realigned to Gaia. That's exactly what that is. That's the same thing as the David LaPointe fucking magnetic sphere thing that Resonate 369 is doing. It's all the fucking same, boys. Look around you. Tartaria's fucking everywhere. Free energy is everywhere if you know how to look and you stop listening to the fucking cucks. Anyway, love you. Bye.
Can you talk about Stargates? Yeah, so there's thought to be a Stargate in the Grand Canyon as well as Iraq and underwater off the coast of Japan and some in other places I can't remember off the top of my head. The most important Stargate that nobody mentions is the mother's womb. If you've read Steiner, then you know he talks about how the womb is not merely a physical vessel, but an energetic gateway, as it composes the spiritual, astral, etheric, and physical bodies into one. Obviously, humans are just a microcosm of the macrocosm. He would talk about how birth is essentially a reenactment of cosmic creation. So the baby emerges from the womb, kind of like how the universe emerges from the void. And as a soul without a material body from the higher realms, you descend through the 7 luminaries and out through your mother's reproductive organs. The womb as a Stargate is your only way into this realm.
I just wanted to share a little bit about Sedona's energy. I've been working with Sedona's energy for 4.5 years now that I've been living here. Always hiking barefoot, belly dancing on the red rocks, climbing with Lulu, with my doggy, and just spending as much time as I can harmonizing myself with this nature, with the elementals here. With her specific energy, and she does have a very special energy. It's very much earthy, but it's the combination of the cosmic frequencies as well here. It is a Stargate, and it has been a sacred land for the natives who've been practicing ceremonies here. It does work like a portal of consciousness. So spending time here, the vortexes are the spirals, those natural forces spiraling and cleansing your aura, your biofield, activating you. So there's that alchemizing effect of clearing, so that when you are on a hike, whatever comes out, whatever emotion needs to resurface first, that's what you should be paying attention to. That is your meditation, that is your process. Whatever is not aligned with this higher harmony of this oneness, nature really just helps us be the best that we can when we are the most free or the most authentic to ourselves. So there's all these different layers. That's what it feels like living here for all these years that I've been here. It's just like peeling the layers, and you know, they say that she either kicks you out or she magnetizes you in. So definitely I have the magnetizing effect, and my work has always been about the feminine. So definitely lots of programs, lots of those imprints, ancestral healing. I am from Poland, so lots of war programs, a very, very heavy and ancestral lineage against the feminine, and trying that combination of being activated for the natural creative feminine coding, for creating in an organic matrix, and constantly being faced with replaying what was hidden underneath all these layers. So it is a very much of a process here to live here. It gets really intense. So I just wanted to share that, but it's definitely worth coming here. I am not a person who recommends any sessions. I'm a person who really recommends coming here alone, spending time alone, really communing with nature, really merging in with the nature, really allowing yourself to be taken on a journey by her energy. So definitely a Stargate, and definitely a very, very special place on our planet.
Comme tu le vois, je ne suis pas mort. Regarde-moi, et moi qui suis ton roi.
Y'all see that ring around the moon? Oh my God. Damn, what the hell? That was deep. That was deep. Let me do it again. Look what it's doing. Man, that looked like a hole. That looked like a hole that leads to another place. That ain't no damn moon. Look how perfect the circle is, y'all. Oh, that's true. Oh my God. That's a hole. Wow. That is trippy. Oh my God. I'm not doing anything. Oh my God. Y'all, I didn't record it several nights of the moon. It ain't never did this. Wow. Let me back out. Look, oh my goodness. That is trippy, y'all. That is trippy. Even when I get this little green light to go down. Oh, that's beastie, y'all. That's beastie. All right, y'all, I gotta go.
The original 1 hour and 45-minute audio. Just a disclaimer, before you listen to this, just know that you may experience some unusual side effects that are just unexplainable. 13 years ago, a portal opened up in David Eckhart's home, and he captured video and audio footage. So each time the camera gets fuzzy, that just means that an entity is in front of the camera. Also, David used a highly polished stainless steel bowl. The camera is facing the bowl, and the reflection of the room is what you're seeing.
Giant portal for the local principalities. Now, if you saw my last video, you know about the stones and what I mentioned about the rituals. Look what it's called. Transcending. Come on, guys. Really? If you can't, I don't even, do I have to explain this? Now, I actually came here before and I prayed standing here. I'm gonna show you. Right there. And you know what happened? My feet started burning when I saw, because I was praying against this thing. But look, watch this. Look at this. Look at his hands. Fallen ones. Now, I know they're going to tell you that it's supposed to represent certain things, but all this stuff has spiritual symbology to it. And all these stones, it's to channel energy. It's a big part of a big old ritual.
From what I understand, Stargate SG-1 hasn't been on the air since 2007. Some of you don't even know what the hell that is, but is season 11 just around the bend? What is this?
Stargate is something that I've been hearing a lot about. I see people when Stargate gets brought up, and I see a lot of this. I don't think people know what Stargate is. I don't know what Stargate is. So could you give us a quick brief on what the Stargate program is?
Stargate program, from my understanding, and I'm still doing a lot of research into it because it's very prevalent in our community and impacting our children, so it's very important that people understand that. The Stargate program, as I experienced it, was I would get removed from the standard curriculum classroom in my grammar school and would be brought to the library. At the time, they weren't really explaining to us what was going on. It was just very bizarre to me. In my research since then, I've discovered that it was the Robert Monroe Institute's protocols for remote viewing that we were being trained in. I was given eye drops, unbeknownst to my parents, and it's my understanding that it was some sort of hybrid LSD that was very fast acting as well as fast wearing off.
What was Iraq actually hiding? There's a theory that the U.S. stayed in Iraq for over a decade after it was liberated, not because of oil, but something way more powerful. In the 1920s, a British explorer discovered what was rumored to be the oldest known Stargate in the world, a device that's essentially able to take people across interstellar distances instantly. It was located at what is known today as the Great Ziggurat. However, in the 1980s, Saddam Hussein fortified the ancient complex in an attempt to keep explorers from seeing what was hidden inside. Furthermore, strange ancient technology has been seen coming out of the Great Ziggurat, rumored to have come through the Stargate from an ancient civilization now living on the hidden planet Nibiru. People who have come out and spoken about these strange devices and coincidentally went missing soon after, with many more people in recent times coming forward, claiming to have been involved in classified programs in Iraq where Stargate technology was used. Many people are wondering,
how did the Anunnaki use portal technology on Earth? How do we activate these Stargates that they left behind when they returned to their planet? A lot of scholars believe that the Stargates were just for aesthetics, or that they never worked. In reality, they're not even deactivated. It's just a technology that humans do not understand how to use yet. When they told us that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, but then at the end, they were never found. So what are they talking about? They were talking about Saddam's Stargate. Saddam Hussein believed to be the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar, a king of the Anunnaki lineage. The king that created Babylon and brought the empire up. In fact, he was creating an Anunnaki theme park, huge, magnificent structure to reproduce Babylon in all its antiquity and beauty. That's why the troops, first thing they did was they invaded the museums. You never thought that was odd? Why did they raid the museums? Well, they were looking for the artifacts. Ancient Anunnaki technology has always intrigued and fascinated its top scientists. CERN itself was built on top of the Temple of Apollo, said to be the entrance to the underworld, to the other dimension. But these stargates are inactive. They seem like they're just stones, right? Wrong. What the Anunnaki used to travel through their portals was an Ankh, also known as Anki. And in several ancient tablets, you're going to hear it called the Jed Pilar Ankh. What it means is the key. The Ankh is not what we think. People were brought to think that it represented fertility, life, and yes, it can also do that, but that's not what it was for. Only the highest ranking Anunnaki had one, and it was a personalized key to travel through the portals. The Ankh is an oscillator that will resonate with your vibrational frequency of your own body. Each frequency is created specifically for the person that holds the key. It's a personalized key. And this was also created this way so that regular humans and entities that were not of the station you needed to be to travel through portals could not access them. In fact, it is said that if you went through a portal and you did not have your own Ankh, you would be disintegrated. So the Ankh, the oscillator, resonates to the atomic frequency of its owner and only of its owner. A code was inserted into the Ankh, Ana, into the key. That code was your specific code. So you can only walk through the portal if your frequency was programmed into the Stargate portal. The Anunnaki no longer need spacecrafts to come to Earth. That was just in the first missions, in Mission Earth, when they were still technologically not advanced as they are now. These are ultra-dimensional beings. They can travel through dimensions, through time-space. And if you watch my previous video, we are just now learning how to bend space-time to be able to travel through it. How does a portal work? Let's say that this is space-time, and you want to get from point A to point B. If you want to avoid all of this road, what you do is you find a shortcut, and that's exactly what a wormhole does. It bends space-time, and it's called an Einstein-Rosen bridge. Now, point A and point B is super easy to achieve. It's immediate, and you would get immediately to point B from point A without having to travel all of this space. Unless you weren't of the royal blood and the highest ranking Anunnaki and had your own Anki, you could not access it. What do the pyramids have to do with this? Well, the pyramids, first of all, produce energy. You're going to need that to activate the Stargate. Now, you've all heard how they've discovered that underneath each pyramid, there are chambers and all of these secret things that nobody knew about. Okay, now remember the last video I made about CERN and how they have their tunnel system that runs under the city, underground, where they test atoms and send them in different directions at the speed of light and watch them collide? That's kind of what happens underneath the pyramids. They had running water underneath them, they have tunnel systems underneath them, and that produces energy. In Bosnia, we have the Pyramid of the Sun that has one of these structures. But without the right key, without the right Ankh, you can't activate it. But technically, if you go research in ancient history, that's one of the Stargates. And so are the pyramids of Giza. And so on for Babylon. So Saddam Hussein probably wasn't lying when he said he had a Stargate. And now it's mysteriously disappeared after the war and after the raid. And the pyramid in Bosnia has these huge crystals that are said to be used as energy. Basically, long story short, CERN is just trying to rediscover ancient Anunnaki technology. So to complete the thought process on CERN and why they're opening up these portals to these other worlds and other dimensions, were they able to send something or people through? Or did something from over there come through and come here? We live in an 11 to 12 dimensional system. The possibilities are endless.
Here we are at the Transcending Satanic Monument in front of the Scientology building in Detroit. Here's an aerial view of it. You can see the sacred geometry, which is meant to work as a sort of sigil to condense energy. And this is a portal.
Bro, look, I mean, to the extent of what it's even saying.
Okay.
Like even just the names. Entry stones, but look right here. We can bring birth. We can bring to birth a new world.
And right here, the transporters.
Yeah.
It looks like there's souls trapped inside these rocks. Oh, my feet are burning just standing in this circle right here. You guys, this is no joke. I'm not even kidding right now. This place is dark. Are your feet burning?
Yeah, but it's like 91 degrees out.
This is a representation of hell and the souls that are being trapped by by this demonic culture that we're living in, you know? Like the culture that we live in hides this symbology, hides these demonic rituals and practices and symbols all around our states and countries, and this is a This is just dark.
I'm gonna stand in the middle with my shoes off.
I don't know if I'd do it.
Whoa. I was wondering if
Oh,
I could
what's the conclusion? Is it satanic? Actually, I think it's actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I like the nice
But
things
look
that
at
it
the
says.
hands right there, as you said that, like, it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
little weird.
Oh wait, you are right. It looks like a baby right there. I changed my
There's
mind. I
no
go
way
back.
they
It is.
worked on
It is actually dark. Look at the
That's what I'm looking
chains.
for.
Why are you putting babies in chains?
What is this? We want more schoolhouses and less jails. Oh, fuck, then it's back to beautiful. Damn it. Are you evil or not? So why are you putting babies in chains? It just answers it.
Solidarity across borders. Yeah, but what borders? See, they could be talking about dimensional borders.
Ooh, true. Yep. Honestly, that's legit.
Yeah, that one's legit. Oh, what's this one say? Oh, human rights. Okay, I guess that one makes sense now in context. Health and safety protection. These are like affirmations within a circle. Still witchcraft, even if it's good witchcraft.
I just don't believe it's
Yeah,
guaranteed pensions. It's just like some union carpenter dude. It's like, I learned witchcraft. He's like, I'm into this right now. Health insurance, that's his spells. Job security, this is crazy.
Look at this weird pagan symbol that's just in front of this building right here. Just before we end this. Look at this guy. It's like a guy holding a family in his hands with a celestial object in his other hand.
And then we're in a triangle with the Scientology building.
Yeah,
if you really think about
yeah.
it. Like, that's the real dark magic over there. All the windows are blacked out. That's nuts.
All over the world for, the armies of the underworld to come forth through, or fallen angels, the dark ones, whatever you want to call them.
The triumph arch of the ancient temple of Bel in Palmyra, blown up by ISIS, now recreated and unveiled on London's Trafalgar Square.
The triumphal arch of Palmyra.
London Mayor Boris Johnson called this effort defiance against terrorism.
This stood for 2,000 years, and then along came the so-called Daesh Islamic State, and it's a measure of our disregard for them and our determination to use technology to redress what they've done.
Palmyra was one of the most well-known and most visited ancient sites in Syria until ISIS overran the area in 2015. But before the extremists could reach the town, Syria's antiquities minister, Mamoun Abdul Karim, led a covert operation to evacuate many of the ancient statues, frescoes, and other items. He was on hand as the reproduced arch was revealed.
This ark is act of symbol. It's something symbol for us of the solidarity from the London, from the England.
The effort to recreate the Triumph Arch was spearheaded by the Institute for Digital Archaeology, using 3D printing technology to make it look and feel almost like the original.
I was standing on the square with a couple of folks from Syria who knew the Palmyra site very well, and as soon as that keystone went into place, they put their hands to their hearts and they gasped.
Those behind this project say they believe that this technology could also be used to recreate other ancient artifacts destroyed by terror groups like ISIS. There's also critics who say that no matter how good the replica is, it can never replace an original. The replica will not be placed at the historic site. Instead, it will be displayed at a traffic circle where ISIS beheaded the custodian of Palmyra's museum, Khalid al-Assad.
This ark, it's new technology. It's not, cannot be replaced the ancient, absolutely. The ancient ark will be restored.
Whatever's coming through them isn't going to be good, but there's a lot of the stuff that's coming together, and I just believe that we need to be really, really paying attention very closely as to what is going on and look into all aspects of all things in order to see what the enemy is up to.
a 60-minute window on the primary target. You have multiple cell units moving on your position. Do not jeopardize the mission now.
How Palmyra looked as ISIL took control, the triumphal arch before the group destroyed it. Today, the 2,000-year-old arch from the Temple of Bel looks like this. A group of Italian architects are reconstructing the arch using 3D robotic printers to bring the historic ruins back to life.
We sometimes think about if we were in the positions of the Syrian people, and we would like to have our monuments as Italians also that are very important for us, this kind of monuments and the relation that we have with our place.
When the reconstruction is finished later this month, it'll go on display in London's Trafalgar Square and then New York's Times Square, before being taken to its final destination, the ancient city of Palmyra.
So the curious topic of the Hoover Dam is one that I've been wanting to come back and examine from a enclosed cosmological perspective for a while now. To me, it's just one more example of something that's been floating around out there in the conspiracy soup that, again, it seems to make a lot more sense if considered from a perspective where the stars aren't something that exists millions of light years away in outer space, but instead involve the spiritual realms, which somehow envelop the ceiling above our heads in this enclosed world. I'd actually never heard about any of the odd edifices and symbolism to be found at the Hoover Dam until I actually happened to visit there myself about 3 years ago. And as soon as I got out of the car and saw the two giant angel statues and the star map and zodiac made out of stonework on the ground, I instantly knew it was something I was going to have to go home and look into some more. And of course, when I did, there was a lot of others who had noticed these same out-of-place monuments and symbolism. And in the past few years since, a number of other people have made videos and written articles about the many strange aspects of Hoover Dam, such as the elements of Freemasonic symbolism, the idea of there being some sort of false flag attack planned, how the destruction of the dam appears to be portrayed on one of the U.S. bills, and things like the fact that the shape of the dam is almost identical to the throne that Madonna sat on in her infamous Illuminati Super Bowl performance, or the rather curious light show that was done on the front of the dam using a German soccer team logo, which, oddly enough, featured a goat and twin towers.
I need y'all to pay attention to this very closely. Okay, so you saw that switch up, right? So let me tell you what happened real quick. Something told me to get on the camera, the front camera. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm getting ready to head out. But I'm like, okay, so I jump on. It doesn't, look at this. This shit is doing it by itself, y'all. That's doing it by itself. This is a security camera. Now I need you to look all the way to the left-hand corner. Look to the left-hand corner. You're going to see a light appear. Now, mind you, before it went dark, the camera is tilted. So to the left-hand corner, oh, it's some shit going up and up there too. Don't, but I want y'all to pay attention to that left-hand corner. So it's pointed towards the ground. So mind you, when you see that light, it is not in the sky. It was either in the tree or taking up off the ground. I'm very connected, you guys. So something told me to get on. It doesn't record unless I jump on and I hit record. Otherwise, it just takes pictures. So I did. but I'm trying to get ready to head out the door. So I walked away from my phone. You will see at some point in this video where I come back and, you know, because I missed all this. I didn't see all this. All I know is when I came back to my phone, it was dark. It never did that before. I thought the camera was messing up. I'm like, what the hell? I come out to the porch, readjust the camera and everything. You're going to see all that. I almost deleted the video. I'm telling you, I would have never forgave myself. But Self said, watch it. Watch it. It never did that before. Look at this shit. Now let's back up. If you scroll down my videos, you'll see the same date that I posted this video. That morning, I posted on Facebook and I posted on TikTok. I had a dream, which I don't believe it was. I came outside and look, left-hand corner. See that light? That's a ship. That's a ship. Now watch. Watch. Okay, it's going up. It's going up. It disappears. I had it. Now watch what happens. Left-hand corner. Up top. Boom! There go that flash. I posted earlier that day. I had a dream. I came outside. I don't believe it was a dream. I came outside my house. It was the middle of the night. I'm standing in the street. And I look up and I see this big bright white flash. Just so, look, there go the ship. So you saw the flash. Now look where it's at. That was it. Man, let me tell y'all playing with me. But anyways, I see this flash of light, and I'm like, whoa. So I go back into the house. You know, who wouldn't? When I go into the house, there is a man standing in there. And he looked, you know, like a human. The only reason why I say zombie, because there was this black. It wasn't makeup, you guys. Like he was decrepit around the eyes. Like he was beginning to rot or something. And he grabs my arm. And he pulls me down the hallway to my bedroom, to the last room. When we get in, you know, I'm fighting. I'm resistant. Like, no, get off of me. He didn't look like an alien, you guys. He looked like a human. But like I said, around the eyes. Now I'm going to run it back and I'm going to zoom in so y'all can see all that as I tell y'all what, you know, this dream or whatever. So I'm fighting. We get to the end of the hallway. I see my son, my oldest son. He is standing there. Y'all. I looked over at my son, you know, because I'm like, calm down, because I don't want him to grab my son too. And I'm trying to talk to my son with my eyes like, run. Get out of here. My son was standing there looking at me, speechless, motionless. He was in a trance. Y'all can't tell me that was a dream. I didn't been abducted. Y'all don't know my story. It's been crazy, y'all. 2 years, nonstop. But there are some here that are, listen, out there, I've been saved a couple times. I know I have. I know for a fact they did intervene on my behalf. There's so many of them coming, y'all. It's so many. I couldn't figure out what the gold lights was around my house. I'm thinking it's like tracking devices. No, the ones that are protecting me have marked my property to let the other ones know that's coming in. We got her. So you could try to take her if you want. Let me tell you, look, here I come out on the porch. They coming for the star season light workers. You understand? Because the ability we hold, the power we hold. Yes, because when the big event come, that's when your abilities is going to skyrocket. Y'all can think I'm playing, talking outside my neck if you want. You think them dreams y'all used to have as a kid was just your imagination? Man, y'all better stop. I still do it. I still remote view. What you talking about? A person could walk past me. I could still read them. I could still tell that they about to go in there and do damage. I still pick up on things. All the abilities, all the dreams I had, it's still happening. Some of y'all done lost touch with yourself. That's why they say it's to return to self, return back to source. Wake the fuck up. Wake up. And yeah, some of y'all are experiencing these divine beings, not so they could scare you, not because, an alien came to me, because they're trying to get you to remember who the hell you are. Because it's time. Man, the trumpet just sounded 3 times. I don't know about y'all, but I heard it. Scattered over 15 years. I heard them. The last one was 2021. Y'all better wake up. They're here. A lot of y'all, and listen, you're like, well, I don't understand what she's saying. I know there's stuff going on around the world and the weather, because when you've been pre-programmed, that's why they call it higher consciousness. There's parts of your brain that need to open up. It's like, you're filtered. You understand what I'm saying? You are filtered. So you're going to go in looking at it a certain way. Even if an alien were to walk up to you, some of you people out there, even if an alien walked up to you right now, you'd be like, okay, now that's a hell of a costume. Where'd you get it from? Okay, oh, yep, AI, they did it now. It must be coming from the 5G towers. How they get this to be over here like this right now? Y'all would, man, listen, y'all, man, when COVID hit, it was so many people, so many theories out there. Like, I got off the news with it. I said people just, they rationalize everything. Because y'all, you know why? Can I tell you why? Because of fear. Because you're afraid. A lot of y'all ain't even coming up off of that old religion, that old programming. You know why? Because you have no faith in yourself. Well, one, you was told you was cursed to abandon yourself, that you gotta die inside. Throw away your spirit. Open yourself up to a unknown being, entity that wasn't channeling from unconditional love. So, you know what I'm saying? And then we've been in slavery and all that, so you've been taught to hate yourself. So why would you trust yourself? Why would you dare give up what you're so used to being told how to think, breathe, poop, shit, smell, eat, to tell to be your own God, to be your own guide in a time like this? But that is your God part. That is your God particle. What is within you? God ain't on the outside. He is the universe. The universe is in you. Oh, that's that new age talk. No, baby, that's the truth. You can stay in slavery if you want, because it's already happened. It's begun. Y'all better get ready.
Okay, so this is a hieroglyph, a relief, basically showing you the jet that I was talking about in my live. So at the bottom here, you see a pillar with 4 lines. Now that is the Jed or Died, however you want to pronounce it. That is symbolic of Osiris's spine. Okay, so it represents stability. And we all know the Ankh, which is right above it, and that represents life or the womb, right? So I want to show you how these are usually shown together in a lot of Egyptian hieroglyphs. And it's exactly as I explained in my live when I mentioned that the Jed and the Ankh together are actually a key to the Stargate, to getting to other realms, right? So I just want to show you this. This right here is actually representative of a fertility ritual, okay? And just so you know, fertility rituals is sex. That's what sex is. The sacred energy exchange is a fertility ritual, okay? So the Jed raises life, okay? The ceremony that ancient Egyptians used to do, it would usually represent the raising or the growth of crops. And that would be the ceremony where you would see the Jed, right? So this is a relief of Ptah holding his staff, which is the Jed symbol, along with the Ankh. Okay, so that means that men hold the key to the Stargate to other realms. Okay, and like I said, this is symbolic of your Kundalini energy, right? Your phallus. This in itself, this entire staff, is representative of a fertility ritual of sex. Okay? Because when we are meeting together, men and women, it's not just the phallus and the yoni, right? It's not just the lingam and the yoni, not just the phallus and the vagina. It's our Kundalini energy that's meeting. So that would encompass the energy that travels up and down our spines. And these lines that's on the Jed is representative of the vertebrae that's on your spine. Okay? So here what we see is the Jed, right? This is representative of the fertility ceremonies, right? And as you can see here, even though the faces are blotted out, you can see the throne on top of the head of the woman, which would symbolize that this is all set, right? So this is all set, and she's being offered the Djed, and the Djed represents stability, as in the spine, or also the Kundalini energy. So this right here is a fertility ritual that we're seeing, okay? This is a sacred energy exchange. And being that men hold the key to the Stargate, which is the portal of the vagina, right? That's how you enter the realm of heaven, or the realm of higher frequencies. Hopefully, we all understand this.
Mini Stargate Portal.
On planet Earth, there are 12 primary stargates. Stargates are frequency modulating zones, ascension passages, very valuable pieces of real estate on Mother Earth. Whoever controls the primary stargates controls the energy, the entities, the frequency that can come in that of Mother Earth. If you charge a certain stargate with a certain energy underneath the earth, the crystals, giant crystals technology goes up and it charges the ley lines or the brain of Mother Earth. So many of the wars fought on Mother Earth on planet, you might think that it's for oil, but it's actually Stargate number 10 in the Middle East. You might think, for example, Egypt, Stargate number 4. So these are very valuable pieces of real estate, and Earth is Universal Stargate number 3, 3, 6, 9, 12. The way out is the same way we came in.
There are 12 interdimensional portals located in secret locations that are being very closely guarded by the Galactics. These are portals that can instantly transport you from one location into another location in the galaxy. And these 12 Stargates are what connects 3D to 5D Earth. So what will happen in the moment of the solar flash, the way we were shown, is that all of these 12 Stargates will suddenly activate with the solar flash. The solar flash will be the trigger that jumpstarts Earth's 12 keys. And when these 12 keys all align, there'll be a dimensional corridor between 3D and 5D for those few days. So when there's in 3D 3 days of darkness, those 3 days will be like a corridor for souls who are ready to make the transition. So if you're working on your light body and you're ready to make that transition, you will not have to do anything. Your particles will literally start vibrating at a very high frequency. Your Merkaba light body will jumpstart it itself. And because your Merkaba is activated in that moment, you'll be able to withstand interdimensional travel. And you'll instantly be traveling into a higher resonance reality, which is invisible to 3D.
What are Stargates?
It's the connection from the heart of one sun or star to another star or star system. It's also a portal.
How many of these portals are there, do you think, on this planet?
There's probably thousands. Anywhere you are could conceivably be that portal because, in fact, the human body itself is considered to be a portal or a gateway.
How do you learn how to travel through one?
What they want to know is how pure of a being are you? How pure-hearted are you? Because it seems like they don't want the riffraff out there in space.
I can't fathom. Light can't really get through. You're not going to feel anything, you're not going to smell anything until the surface is literally breached. The locale on that side will equalize with the locale on this side, and then you're good to go. You can kind of see like a glow happening, but again, you're not going to get anything more than that until you touch it. And once you do touch it and the surface is breached, this portal becomes self-sustained for like 2 hours. Are you going to go through it? Taking samples of this water. Unbelievable. It's so warm and fresh here. It's almost like it's just untainted. You can't see it because the clouds are covering it, but there are two suns right off there. One, and there's a lesser sun like right there.
Feels like home. I think it's still Earth. It's just it's Earth in a different time, maybe. There it is. Two suns. Crazy. Beautiful.
In the early 1900s, a series of remarkable stone structures were discovered in remote locations around the world. These amazing artifacts, known as stone stargates, captivated the imagination of archaeologists, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Carved with intricate patterns and symbols, their true purpose remains shrouded in mystery. Ancient folklore, however, spoke of these stargates as devices used by civilizations from distant solar systems to travel across the cosmos. By the 1950s, almost all the stargates had vanished without a trace, fueling rumors of government cover-ups and hidden agendas. Some theorized that governments around the world systematically confiscated the stargates and concealed them in top-secret facilities. Their whereabouts remain unknown.
Stargate portals being slowly introduced to humanity.
Installation is bringing Dublin and New York City together. It's called The Portal. People from both cities can take a look inside to see the opposite crowd moving in real time. Both sides can be seen dancing and waving to each other.
It's like a giant face chat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is a great idea. Yeah, that's really neat.
Is this true that dimensional portals are real? Watch this.
Construction workers are underground working on a government building project. Inside what seems like an ordinary tunnel, something incomprehensible happens that none of them have ever seen before.
It's as if the tunnel has come alive and it's breathing.
The tunnel seems to move as a cloud, repeatedly and very suddenly, appearing and disappearing. Workers who witness it are terrified, including Juan Antonio Sanchez.
La tierra empezó a rugir, como de un león. Eso produce mucho temor porque en cualquier momento uno creía que el túnel se podía derrumbar o que podía... Temimos mucho por nuestras vidas.
Footage of the weird pulsing energy baffles scientists.
There's also this booming sound that's associated with it.
Is this dangerous? Is the whole thing going to collapse?
What the hell's going on here?
Physicist Chad Orzel reviews the footage and considers an incredible theory.
There's a very regular pulsation, so it seems like something must be controlling it. If you were going to imagine an intergalactic portal to a distant galaxy, this is what it would look like.
Many physicists are convinced they exist, but nothing like it has ever been filmed. A wormhole or Stargate is considered by some to be a possible future means of interstellar travel.
These kinds of wormholes are frequently used as ways to travel interstellar distances in space. They show up in the movie Stargate, they show up in the movie Interstellar as long-distance travel arrangements. So this seems like a really great idea.
Stargates and wormholes sound like science fiction, but some of the greatest minds in science believe they might be possible.
Introduced by Albert Einstein himself in 1935. A wormhole is a shortcut, a subway system connecting two distant points in space and time.
Using